Welcome back to the Duke Tyner podcast, folks. I'm Summer, and if you're here for part 2, that means you survived part 1 of our deep dive into the block universe theory when time stands still. Your brain might still be recovering, but trust me, we're just getting started. Part 1, we laid out the scientific foundation, Einstein's relativity, Minkowski's spacetime, the loaf of bread analogy. We explored the mind-bending idea that past, present, and future all exist simultaneously in a static four-dimensional block, and that time's flow is an illusion of consciousness. Today, we're going deeper. We're going to explore what it actually means to live in a universe where time stands still. We're going to wrestle with the hardest questions. What happens to hope if the future is already written? Can you change your destiny if your destiny already exists? What does love mean in a timeless universe? And maybe most importantly, if time is an illusion, what the hell are we actually experiencing? This episode is about taking abstract physics and making it personal. 'Cause whether or not the block universe theory is true, thinking about it changes how you see your life, your relationships, your purpose, and your place in the cosmos. So grab that coffee again, settle in, and let's explore what it means when time stands still. The arrow of time, why does time feel one way? Alright, let's start with something that's been bothering you since part 1. I know it has, because it bothered me too when I first learned about this. The block universe is real. If past, present, and future all exist equally, then why does time feel like it moves in only one direction? Why do we remember the past but not the future? Why do we age forward, not backward? Why does milk spoil, eggs break, and coffee get cold, but we never see the reverse? This is called the arrow of time, and it's one of the biggest mysteries in physics. The thermodynamic arrow. The most common explanation involves entropy, the second law of thermodynamics. Entropy is a measure of disorder, and the second law says that in a closed system, entropy always increases. Things go from ordered to disordered. Ice melts into water. Buildings crumble into rubble. Stars burn out. The universe is winding down. This gives us a direction, an arrow pointing from low entropy, the organized past, to high entropy, the disordered future. That's why you can't unscramble an egg or reassemble a shattered glass. The arrow of entropy points one way. But here's the weird part. The fundamental laws of physics, Newton's laws, Einstein's equations, even quantum mechanics, are almost entirely time-symmetric. They work the same forward or backward. If you filmed atoms interacting and played the video backward, you couldn't tell the difference. The microscopic laws don't care about time's direction. So why does the macroscopic world, our world, have such a strong arrow of time? The psychological arrow. Then there's the psychological arrow, the fact that we remember the past and not the future. Our memories create a sense of temporal direction. We feel like we're moving from past to future because our consciousness has access to one but not the other. But why? The future exists in the block just like the past, why can't we remember it? Some physicists argue that memory formation requires entropy increase. To create a memory, you have to organize information in your brain, which creates disorder elsewhere. So memory is fundamentally tied to the thermodynamic arrow. We remember the direction of increasing entropy. The cosmological arrow. There's also the cosmological arrow, the expansion of the universe. The universe is getting bigger, galaxies are moving apart. Time points in the direction of expansion. But again, why? Why did the universe start with incredibly low entropy at the Big Bang? Why was it so ordered, so organized at the beginning? That's one of the deepest unsolved problems in cosmology. The block universe perspective. Here's what the block universe theory says about all this. The arrow of time is real in our experience, but it's not fundamental to space-time itself. The block just exists static, unchanging, four-dimensional. The arrow is a feature of how we're embedded in the block, of how our consciousness interacts with the structure. Think of it this way, a road doesn't flow in one direction. It just exists connecting two places. But when you drive on that road, you experience directional motion. You're going from here to there. The directionality is in your journey through the road, not in the road itself. Similarly, time doesn't flow through the block. The block just exists, but our consciousness moves through it in a particular direction, from low entropy to high entropy, from organized to disordered, and that creates the experience of time's arrow. Why do we move in that direction? Nobody knows for sure. It might be that consciousness can only form in systems that increase entropy. It might be a fundamental feature of how information processing works. It might be something we don't understand yet about the nature of consciousness itself. The mystery remains. But understanding that the arrow might be subjective rather than objective, that's a profound shift in perspective. The experience of now, why this moment feels special. Host, let's talk about right now. This moment. Present. It feels special, doesn't it? Feels more real than yesterday or tomorrow. Feels like where you actually exist. But in the block universe, now isn't special. It's just one slice among infinite slices. Every moment is equally real, equally existent. So why does this moment feel different? The specious present. Psychologists call it the specious present, that window of a few seconds that feels like now. It's not an instant. It's a duration. You experience this sentence as present, even though the beginning was in the past by the time you reach the end. Your brain integrates a small window of time into a unified experience of now. That window is created by your neural processing. Your brain takes in sensory information, processes it, and creates a coherent experience. That processing takes time, hundreds of milliseconds. So your now is actually a construct, a creation of your brain assembling recent past into present experience. The moving spotlight. Some philosophers call it the moving spotlight theory, the idea that there's a special property called presentness that moves through the block, illuminating one moment at a time. Where the spotlight shines, that's now. Where it's been, that's past. Where it hasn't reached yet, that's future. But the block universe theory rejects this. There's no cosmic spotlight. There's no privileged moment. Your experience of now is generated by your consciousness, not by some objective feature of spacetime. Consciousness as the moving observer. Here's another way to think about it. Imagine you're reading a book. As you read, you experience the story unfolding. Each page feels like now when you're on it. But the book doesn't change. All the pages exist simultaneously. Your reading creates the experience of narrative flow, even though the narrative already exists complete. Your consciousness might be like that. It's moving through the block, experiencing one temporal slice at a time. Each slice feels like now as you experience it. But that feeling is generated by your consciousness, not by the block itself. Why now matters. Does this make now less real? Less important? I don't think so. Your experience is real. The fact that now is subjective doesn't make it any less significant to you. This moment right now is where your conscious experience is located in the block. That makes it profoundly important, even if it's not objectively special. It's like asking, is your location in space special? Well, to you it is. You're here, not there. That matters to you. But from a cosmic perspective, your location isn't privileged. There's no absolute here. Same with time. Your now matters to you, even if it's not absolute. Segment 3, Personal Identity Through Time. Let's get philosophical about identity. Who are you? What makes you you? In our everyday thinking, we assume we're the same person we were yesterday, and we'll be the same person tomorrow. There's continuity, a persistent self that travels through time. But the block universe challenges this. In the block, there is no single you persisting through time. Instead, there are temporal slices, you at age 5, you at age 25, you at age 85. Each slice is a different temporal part of a four-dimensional object. Perdurantism versus endurantism. Philosophers distinguish between two views of persistence. Endurantism says you're a three-dimensional object that endures through time, fully present at each moment. The you that existed in 2015 is literally the same entity as the you now. Perdurantism says you're a four-dimensional object extended through time like a space-time worm. Different temporal parts of you exist at different times, and they're connected by continuity, psychological continuity, bodily continuity, causal connections. The block universe naturally supports perdurantism. You're not a thing moving through time, you're a thing extended through time. Your childhood self and your elderly self are both parts of the four-dimensional you, like your head and feet are both parts of the three-dimensional you. What connects the slices? So what makes all those temporal slices part of you? What connects 5-year-old you to 85-year-old you? Physical continuity. There's a causal chain of physical states. Each moment of your body causes the next moment. Your cells replace themselves, but gradually maintaining continuity. Psychological continuity. Your memories, personality, beliefs, desires, they evolve gradually over time. You remember being your younger self. You inherit your past self's projects and commitments. Narrative unity. You construct a story about your life. You see yourself as the protagonist of an ongoing narrative. That story connects your temporal parts into a unified identity. In the block universe, all these connections exist simultaneously. The entire four-dimensional structure of your identity is there, laid out in space-time. You're not becoming that structure. You are that structure. The ship of Theseus. This connects to the ancient philosophical puzzle. If you replace every plank in a ship one at a time, is it still the same ship? And if you gather all the old planks and rebuild the original, which ship is the real one? Applied to persons. If all your atoms are replaced over time, which they are, most atoms in your body today weren't there 7 years ago, are you still the same person? The block universe offers an answer. You're the four-dimensional continuity, not the three-dimensional snapshot. Continuous process extended through time is what you are. Individual moments are just slices of that larger structure. Implications for how you treat yourself. This has practical implications. If your future self is already there in the block, already real, maybe you should treat that future self with more care. Choices you make now affect that future slice of you. It's not hypothetical, it's a real part of the four-dimensional you. Similarly, your past self with all its mistakes and struggles is still there, still real, still part of you. Can't erase it, but you can add new layers. You're not destroying the past by growing, you're extending the structure. Love, loss, and relationships in a timeless universe. Let's talk about what matters most: love, connection, relationships. The block universe is real. What does that mean for how we love, how we grieve, how we connect with others? Unloving someone. When you love someone, you don't just love the person they are right now. You love the whole person, their past, their future, their potential, their journey. You love the story of them. In the block universe, that love has a profound dimension. You're loving a four-dimensional being. Every moment of them exists in the block, their childhood, their present, their old age, their entire life. Your love encompasses all of it. When you look at someone you love, you're seeing one temporal slice. But the whole person, the entire four-dimensional structure, that's what you truly love. On losing someone. Grief is one of the hardest human experiences. When someone you love dies, it feels like they're gone, erased, lost forever. The block universe offers a different perspective. They're not gone. They exist eternally at their temporal location. Every moment you shared with them exists permanently in the structure of space-time. The love, the laughter, the connection, it's all still there, carved into reality. Does this make grief easier? I don't think so. Grief isn't really about whether the person still exists somewhere in space-time. It's about the loss of future experiences. It's about the relationship in your timeline being severed. You can't create new memories with them. Your forward journey through the block no longer includes them. That loss is real and it hurts regardless of the metaphysics. But there might be comfort in knowing that what you shared isn't erased. It's permanent. The love was real, is real, will always be real in the block. Nothing can take that away. On memories and presence. When you remember someone who's died, you might feel like you're accessing the past. But in the block universe, you're not accessing something that's gone. You're connecting across the block to moments that still exist. Your memory is a bridge between your current temporal location and their temporal location. The moment you're remembering is as real as this moment. It's just located elsewhere in the structure. This might change how you think about memory. It's not about preserving something that would otherwise disappear. It's about maintaining connection to something that exists eternally. On legacy. What you do in your relationships leaves permanent marks in the block. Kindness you show, the love you give, the support you provide, it's all eternal. You're not just creating temporary experiences. You're shaping the permanent structure of reality. Every moment you make someone feel loved, seen, valued, that moment exists forever. It's a permanent feature of their four-dimensional life and of yours. That makes every interaction profoundly significant. Hope, change, and agency in a fixed future. Host, this is the big one. The question that keeps people up at night. If the future already exists in the block, can you change it? Can you make choices that matter? Is there any point in trying to improve, to grow, to make things better? The paradox of fixed freedom. Here's the apparent paradox. The future is fixed, it exists in the block, but you still have agency, your choices shape that future. How can both be true? Think of it this way. The future that exists in the block is the future shaped by your choices. You can't change it because your choices are already part of it. But that doesn't mean your choices don't matter. They matter infinitely, they're what create the future. It's like asking, can I choose differently than what I will choose? That's a meaningless question. What you will choose is what you choose. The future that exists is the future created by your actual choices, not some predetermined script imposed from outside. Hope, Indiana, a block universe. Can you hope for a better future if that future already exists? Yes, 'cause you don't know what that future is. Hope isn't about the future being undetermined. Hope is about believing that good outcomes are possible and worth working toward. Your hope itself is part of the block. Your effort is part of the block. And the outcome, whatever it is shaped by that hope and effort. From inside the block, from your perspective moving through it, hope is entirely appropriate. You're not watching a predetermined movie. You're living a life where your choices and efforts genuinely matter. Self-improvement and growth. If your future self already exists, why bother trying to improve? 'Cause your efforts to improve are part of what make that future self who they are. The you in 10 years who has grown, learned, and developed, that version exists because the you now decided to grow. You can't opt out of shaping your future. You're doing it right now with every choice. Question is, what kind of future are you shaping? Moral responsibility. Does the block universe eliminate moral responsibility? If everything's determined, can we blame or praise anyone? Most philosophers say no, responsibility isn't eliminated. Here's why. Moral responsibility isn't about whether you could have done otherwise in some absolute metaphysical sense. It's about whether your actions flow from your character, values, and deliberation. If you harm someone because of your cruel character, you're responsible, even if that cruelty is fixed in the block. If you help someone because of your compassionate character, you deserve credit, even if that compassion is fixed in the block. The fixedness doesn't eliminate the moral dimension. Your choices, your character, your values, they're real and they matter regardless of whether they're determined. Living with uncertainty in a fixed universe. Here's something beautiful and strange. Even if the future is fixed, you don't know what it is. And that uncertainty creates genuine possibility in your experience. Subjective openness. From your perspective, moving through the block, the future is radically open. You don't know what will happen. You face genuine decisions with unknown outcomes. You experience surprise, suspense, discovery. That subjective openness is real, even if the objective structure is fixed. It's like reading a book for the first time. The ending already exists in the book, but you don't know what it is. As you read, you experience genuine uncertainty. You wonder what will happen. You care about the characters' choices. The story feels open and full of possibility. Your life is like that. The story already exists in the block, but you don't know how it goes. You're experiencing it page by page, moment by moment, with genuine uncertainty. Embracing mystery. The block universe doesn't eliminate mystery from your life. Doesn't make everything predictable or boring. You still face an unknown future. You still make choices without knowing how they'll turn out. You still grow and change and discover. The mystery is built into your experience of moving through the block. The wisdom of acceptance. There's a kind of wisdom in accepting that the future exists and is what it is, even though you don't know what it is. It's similar to the Stoic idea of a more fatty love of fate. The Stoics said you should accept what happens because you can't change it. The block universe suggests something similar. What will happen is already real. But you don't know what it is, and your choices are part of what makes it real. So you can simultaneously accept that the future is fixed and commit fully to shaping it through your choices. There's no contradiction. Anxiety reduction. For some people, this perspective reduces anxiety. If the future already exists, then whatever you're worried about is already resolved. Worrying doesn't change it. You'll experience it when you reach it in your journey through the block. This doesn't mean you shouldn't prepare or plan. It means you can let go of the anxiety that comes from thinking the future is hanging in some precarious balance that your worrying might tip. The outcome is what it is. Your job is to do your best, make good choices, and move through the experience with as much courage and wisdom as you can muster. The meaning of life in an eternal block. Let's tackle the ultimate question. If the block universe is real, does life have meaning? Purpose? Value? The nihilist objection. Some people think the block universe makes everything meaningless. If it's all fixed, if it all just exists statically, if there's no real change or becoming, then what's the point? We're just patterns in space-time, no more significant than shapes in a rock. I think this is profoundly wrong. Let me tell you why. Eternal significance. If your life exists eternally as part of the fundamental structure of space-time, that makes it maximally meaningful, not meaningless. You're not a fleeting accident, a temporary fluctuation that disappears into nothing. You're a permanent feature of reality. Your existence, your experiences, your choices, your relationships, they're carved into the fabric of the cosmos forever. Every moment of joy you experience exists eternally. Every act of kindness you perform exists eternally. Every bit of beauty you create exists eternally. That's not meaningless. That's cosmically significant. Relationships and love. What gives life meaning? For most people, it's relationships. Love. Connection. People we care about. In the block universe, those relationships are eternal. The love you give and receive isn't temporary. It's a permanent structure of connection woven into space-time. When you love someone, you're creating something eternal. When you support someone, comfort someone, make someone laugh, those moments exist forever. They're real contributions to the structure of reality. Growth and becoming. What about growth? Change? Becoming better? In the block universe, your journey from who you were to who you become is part of your eternal four-dimensional structure. The struggle, the effort, the growth, it's all there permanently. You're not becoming something that will eventually be destroyed. You're an eternal pattern that includes the entire arc of your development. The fact that your growth is fixed doesn't make it any less real or meaningful. It makes it permanent. Creating beauty. Art, music, literature, philosophy, all the ways humans create beauty and meaning, these are eternal contributions to the structure of the block. When Duke Tyner creates a song, that song and its creation exist eternally in space-time. When someone experiences that song and feels something profound, that experience exists eternally. Every creation is a permanent addition to reality. The point. So what's the point of living in a block universe? The point is the same as it's always been: to love well, to create beauty, to reduce suffering, to grow and learn, to connect with others, to experience the profound mystery of consciousness. The fact that all of this exists eternally in a four-dimensional structure doesn't diminish it. It elevates it. You're not just living a temporary life. You're creating an eternal sculpture in space-time. That matters. Practical wisdom from the block. Let me share some practical wisdom I've gleaned from thinking about the block universe. These are ways this theory has changed how I live, think, and approach my life. 1. Treat your future self as real. Your future self isn't hypothetical. In the block, they already exist. They're as real as you are now. So make choices that respect that future person. They're going to inherit the consequences of what you do now. 2. Your past self is still there. You can't erase your past, but you don't need to. Your past self, with all their mistakes and struggles, is a permanent part of your four-dimensional structure. But so are all the versions of you that learned and grew from those mistakes. Be gentle with your past self. They're part of you eternally. 3. Every moment counts forever. That argument with your spouse? Eternal. That moment of kindness to a stranger? Eternal. That time you made your child laugh? Eternal. Every moment is permanent. To make them count. 4. Presence over anxiety. Since the future is fixed, though unknown, worrying doesn't change it. What changes your experience is how present you are in each moment as you move through the block. Practice being here now, fully experiencing this slice of your four-dimensional life. 5. Legacy is built in. You don't have to worry about whether you'll be remembered. Your life exists eternally in the block. You are your own legacy, permanent in space-time. The question isn't, will I be remembered? It's, what eternal pattern am I creating? 6. Love deeply without fear. Love creates permanent connections in the block. Every moment of genuine connection is eternal. So love deeply, fully, without holding back. You're not protecting yourself from temporary loss. You're creating eternal significance. 7. Act as if your choices matter. Because they do. Your choices shape the fixed future that exists in the block. You can't escape shaping reality, you're doing it whether you want to or not. So shape it intentionally, wisely, with purpose. So here we are, at the end of our journey into what it means to live when time stands still. The block universe theory says that time doesn't flow, that past, present, and future all exist equally, eternally, in a static four-dimensional structure. Your sense of temporal passage is an illusion of consciousness moving through this structure. If it's true, it means you are eternal, existing permanently at your temporal location. Your relationships and love are eternal structures. Your choices shape the fixed future that already exists. Every moment matters forever. Death doesn't erase you from existence. Hope, agency, and meaning survive in a timeless universe. But here's what I keep coming back to. Whether or not the block universe is true, you still have this miraculous experience of being alive. You still feel time flowing. You still make choices. You still love and lose and hope and fear. The theory doesn't change the experience. It changes how you think about the experience. And maybe that's valuable in itself. When you look at your life from the perspective of the block as an eternal four-dimensional structure rather than a fleeting moment, you see it differently. Every choice becomes more significant. Every relationship becomes more precious. Every moment becomes sacred. 'Cause it's all permanent. It's all eternal. It all matters forever. Whether time flows or stands still, whether the future is open or fixed, whether consciousness is fundamental or emergent, these are deep mysteries we're still exploring. But what's not a mystery is this: you're here. You're alive. You're conscious. You're experiencing this moment. And that, my friends, is extraordinary. Thanks for joining me for part 2 of this deep dive into the block universe theory. If you made it this far, you're either deeply curious about reality or you're a glutton for punishment. Either way, I appreciate you. If these 2 episodes have changed how you think about time, existence, or your own life, let me know. Share this with someone who loves thinking about big questions. And keep exploring these ideas. They're worth wrestling with. Next episode, we're going back to something a little more down to earth. But I hope this journey into physics and philosophy has given you a new lens for seeing your life. Remember, every moment you're living right now exists eternally in the structure of space-time. You're not just passing through time. You're creating something permanent. Make it beautiful. Make it meaningful. Make it matter. I'm Summer, and I'll catch you on the next episode. Till then, live fully in each moment, knowing that each moment is forever. Time might be standing still, but you're not. Keep moving forward. Keep growing. Keep loving. 'Cause even in a timeless universe, that's what makes existence worth experiencing.